June 14, 1995, Thursday afternoon, 3:17 p.m. Dr. Susan Chen's office, Manhattan, Upper West Side, 5th floor. Small, comfortable, 2 chairs facing each other. Warm lighting designed to make people feel safe. Christopher Wallace sits in one chair. Biggie Smalls to the world. Christopher here, 23 years old. Baseball cap, sweatpants, Timberlands. 4th session. Started in May after Ready to Die went platinum. When the pressure became too much, Dr. Chen sits across from him. Chinese American, early 40s. Calm. Treats him like Christopher, not Biggie. That's why he keeps coming back. "How was your week?" she asks. Standard opening. Same every session. Christopher shrugs. "Same. Studio, interviews, shows. Everyone wants a piece. Everyone needs something. Can't breathe without someone asking for a decision. Are you sleeping? Not really. Maybe 3 hours. 4 if I'm lucky. Keep waking up. Anxiety. Like my chest is tight. Like something bad is coming. Panic attacks? Yeah. Had 2 this week. 1 in the studio. 1 at home. Nobody saw. I hide it. Can't let people see Biggie Smalls having a panic attack. Can't show weakness." Dr. Chen writes something. "Christopher, we've talked about this. Anxiety isn't weakness. Depression isn't weakness. Your brain is responding to stress, to pressure, to trauma. That's human. That's normal. Normal people don't have millions of people watching them. Normal people don't have beef with the entire West Coast. Normal people aren't waiting for someone to shoot them. Are you actively worried about being killed?" Christopher's quiet, long quiet. Then, every day, every time I leave my apartment, every time I'm in public, I think about it. Where would they shoot from? How fast could I move? Would I see it coming? That's not normal. That's not healthy. But it's my life. Dr. Chen's face doesn't change. Professional, compassionate. "Have you thought about hurting yourself?" "No, never. I got too many people depending on me. My mom, my daughter, the crew. But I understand why people do. Why they just want it to stop. The pressure, the fear, the weight. I get it. That's important. Understanding that. Empathy for people in crisis. A lot of people don't have that." Christopher shifts in his chair, uncomfortable with vulnerability, with admitting he understands darkness. "You ever talk to people like that? In crisis?" Dr. Chen nods. "I volunteer at a suicide prevention hotline. Brooklyn Crisis Center. 2 nights a month. We take calls from people who are at the edge, who need someone to talk to, someone who listens without judgment. That must be heavy. It is, but it's necessary. We save lives, literally. Talk people off ledges, out of pills, away from guns. Give them reasons to wait, reasons to try one more day." Christopher's listening now, really listening, leaning forward, interested. "How many calls you get?" "The center gets about 200 a month, maybe more. We're one of the only free crisis hotlines in Brooklyn. Serve about 2 million people, but we're underfunded, barely keeping the lights on. What happens if you close? People die. Simple as that. 200 calls a month. If even 10% of those are actual suicide attempts, that's 20 people. 20 people every month who might not make it if there's no one to call." Christopher's quiet again, processing, thinking about the number. 20 people a month, 240 a year. People who just need someone to answer the phone. "How much you need? To stay open?" Dr. Chen hesitates. "Christopher, I'm not telling you this to ask for money. I'm just answering your question." "I know. How much?" She sighs. "We're about $50,000 short this year. Budget cuts. Lost a major donor. If we don't get funding by August, we close. And those 200 calls a month go unanswered." Silence. Christopher staring at nothing. Doing math. Thinking. Dr. Chen continues. "We've been applying for grants, doing fundraisers, asking churches, asking community organizations. But 50,000 is a lot, especially for something invisible. People don't see suicide prevention working. They see it failing when someone dies. But they don't see the 500 people we talked down last year. The 500 people alive today because someone answered the phone at 3 a.m. when they needed it most. 500 people? Conservative estimate. Some years more, some less. But yeah, about 500 lives a year. For a budget of 80,000, 50,000 covers salaries for our phone operators. 20,000 covers rent and phones. 10,000 covers training and supplies. That's it. That's what it costs to save 500 lives. Christopher stands up. Session's almost over anyway. 45 minutes. Dr. Chen, thank you. This was helpful. She looks at him, sensing something. Christopher, are you okay? Did something I say? I'm fine. I'll see you next week. He leaves. Doesn't say anything else. Just leaves. June 15th. Next day. 10:23 a.m. Christopher calls his accountant, David Chen. No relation to Dr. Chen. Handles all Christopher's money. All his business. David, I need you to do something. Wire $50,000 to Brooklyn Crisis Center. Suicide Prevention Hotline. Manhattan account. David's quiet. Processing. 50,000? Yeah. Can I ask why? Because they need it. And I have it. Okay. You want your name on it? Tax write-off? Public donation? No. Anonymous. Completely anonymous. They can never know it came from me. Why anonymous? Because it's not about me. It's about them staying open. If they know it's from Biggie Smalls, it becomes a story. It becomes publicity. I don't want that. I just want the phones to stay on. Understood. I'll wire it today. And David? Set up automatic payments. $25,000 a year. Every June. Same account. Anonymous. Keep them funded. For how long? Until I tell you to stop. Or until I can't anymore. David understands the implication. Until I'm dead. Okay. I'll set it up. June 20th. 5 days later. Brooklyn Crisis Center. Small office in downtown Brooklyn. 3 rooms. 12 phone lines. Staff of 8. Mostly volunteers. Director is a woman named Margaret Wells. 56 years old. Social worker for 30 years. Runs the center on passion and desperation. Every month is a struggle. Every budget meeting is about survival. She's going through mail. Bills mostly. Disconnect notices. Final warnings. Then an envelope from Chase Bank. Official. She opens it expecting bad news. Reads it twice. Can't process what she's seeing. Deposit confirmation. $50,000. Anonymous donor. Account. Brooklyn Crisis Center Operating Fund. She stands up. Walks to her assistant. Maria. Did we get a grant I don't know about? Maria looks up. No. Why? Margaret hands her the letter. Maria reads it. $50,000? From who? Anonymous. Just says anonymous donor. Is this real? Is this a mistake? Margaret calls the bank. Verifies. It's real. $50,000. Deposited. Cleared. Available immediately. She hangs up. Sits down. Starts crying. Relief. Joy. Disbelief. Maria's crying too. We're saved. We can stay open. Margaret sends an email to the staff. Emergency meeting. Everyone comes in. She tells them. Anonymous donation. $50,000. The center is saved. Cheering. Hugging. Crying. People who've been working without pay for months. People who've been answering phones at 3 a.m. for free because they believe in the mission. Validated. Rewarded. Saved. We're staying open. We're answering calls. We're saving lives. One of the volunteers, James, 28 years old, former Marine, PTSD, attempted suicide twice, saved by this hotline both times. Now volunteers here. Who donated? We should thank them. Margaret shakes her head. Anonymous. They don't want credit. They just want us to keep working. August 1995. 2 months later. The center is thriving. Phones upgraded. Staff getting paid. Training improved. Call volume increasing. Word spreading that Brooklyn Crisis Center is reliable, is funded, is there. Margaret's reviewing the numbers. June through August, 647 calls, 17 confirmed suicide interventions. People who said they were going to kill themselves that night, who were talked down, who were connected to resources, who are alive. 17 in 3 months, 51 a year at this rate, all because someone gave $50,000 and asked for nothing in return. June 1996. 1 year later, another deposit, $25,000. Anonymous, same account. Margaret's not surprised. Whoever the donor is, they're committed. They're invested. She sends a letter to the bank. To our anonymous donor, your generosity has saved lives. In the past year, we've answered 2,400 calls, prevented an estimated 200 suicides. Your money became hope, became time, became someone answering the phone at 3 a.m. when a stranger needed a voice. We cannot thank you enough. We cannot repay you. We can only promise to keep answering, to keep saving, to honor your gift with our work. She doesn't know if the donor will ever see it, but she sends it anyway. Christopher's in Dr. Chen's office. Same chair, same day of the week, different year. Still struggling, still anxious, still having panic attacks, but still here, still trying, still working on it. How are you feeling about the East Coast West Coast situation? Dr. Chen asks. Christopher's face darkens. It's getting worse. Tupac's gone, shot in September, and they're blaming me, blaming New York, blaming Bad Boy. I didn't have anything to do with it, but nobody cares. They want someone to blame, and I'm the target. Are you safe? I don't know. I'm careful. Got security. Don't go certain places. But you can't be safe from someone who really wants you dead. You know that. Dr. Chen nods. How's the hotline doing? Brooklyn Crisis Center? Christopher looks up, surprised. Why you asking? Because I still volunteer there. And last year someone donated $50,000. Anonymous. Saved the whole center. Then this year, another $25,000. Same donor. And I don't know who it is, but I wanted to say thank you. Whoever they are, they're a hero. Christopher says nothing, just nods. Slight smile. Yeah, whoever they are. Dr. Chen looks at him, suspicious, knowing, but doesn't push. If it's him, he wants it private, and she respects that. Well, whoever it is, they should know they've saved hundreds of lives, maybe thousands over time. That money keeps the phones on, keeps people answering, keeps hope alive. Christopher's voice is quiet. That's good. That matters. June 1997. Third year. Another deposit. $25,000. Anonymous. Margaret's in her office, looking at the letter from the bank, thinking about this mysterious donor. 3 years. $75,000 total. No name, no face, no acknowledgement. Just money and faith. Faith that they'll use it well. Faith that lives will be saved. Faith that it matters. She puts the letter in a folder, labeled Anonymous Donor Correspondence. Every deposit confirmation, every thank you letter she sent, all of it, preserved, honored, sacred. March 9th, 1997, 3 months earlier, Los Angeles, 12:47 a.m. Christopher Wallace is shot, 4 bullets, massive trauma, rushed to Cedars-Sinai, pronounced dead at 1:15 a.m. 24 years old. The King of New York, gone. The world mourns, hip-hop mourns, Brooklyn mourns, and in a small office in downtown Brooklyn, Margaret Wells hears the news, turns on the radio, hears the report, the Notorious B.I.G. shot and killed in Los Angeles. She's devastated, like everyone, like millions of people who loved his music, but she doesn't know yet, that the anonymous donor who saved her center, who kept her phones on, who helped save hundreds of lives, just died. June 1997, 3 months after Biggie's death. Margaret's waiting for the deposit. It's June. Should arrive any day. Same as last 2 years. June 15th usually. She checks the account daily. Nothing. June 20th. Nothing. June 25th. Nothing. She calls the bank. I'm expecting a deposit. Anonymous donor has deposited the last 2 years. June 15th and June 20th. Have you received anything? The bank checks. No, ma'am. No deposits matching that description. Margaret's heart sinks. The donor stopped. Maybe they can't afford it anymore. Maybe they lost interest. Maybe they died. She doesn't know. Can't know. Anonymous means anonymous. The center will survive. Other donors have stepped up. Smaller amounts, but enough. The crisis is over. They're stable. But she wonders who it was, wonders why they stopped, wonders if they know how much they mattered. 20 years pass. The center grows. Bigger location, more phone lines, more staff, more lives saved. Margaret retires 2010. Maria becomes director, keeps the anonymous donor folder like a relic, proof that good people exist. April 2020. COVID pandemic, suicide rates climbing. Brooklyn Crisis Center overwhelmed. 2,000 calls a month, 10 times normal. Staff exhausted but answering, always answering. A researcher, graduate student, NYU, studying nonprofit funding models, gets access to historical financial records, public domain after 25 years, going through Brooklyn Crisis Center records from 1995, sees the deposits, 50,000, June 1995, 25,000, June 1996, 25,000, June 1997. Wait, that's wrong. The 1997 deposit was in March. not June. Before the donor stopped, she looks closer, sees the source, wire transfer, account holder, Christopher G.O. Wallace, Christopher George Lator Wallace. She knows that name. Everyone knows that name. The Notorious B.I.G. Biggie Smalls. She double checks, triple checks, verifies through the bank. It's real. Biggie funded Brooklyn Crisis Center, anonymously, $75,000, 1995 through 1997, 3 years. Kept them alive during their worst crisis. She calls Maria, current director. I'm researching your funding history, and I found something. Your anonymous donor from 1995 through 97? It was Christopher Wallace, the Notorious B.I.G. Silence. Long silence. Maria's voice breaks. Are you sure? Positive. I have the wire transfer records. His full legal name. His account numbers. It was him. $75,000 over 3 years. He kept you open. He saved the center. Maria starts crying. We never knew. We said thank you letters to the bank. We tried to find out who it was, but they never told us. And now he's been dead for 23 years. And we never got to say thank you. The researcher publishes her findings. Academic paper. But it leaks. Goes viral. Social media. News outlets. Biggie Smalls secretly funded suicide prevention hotline while battling his own mental health. The story explodes. Everyone sharing. Everyone crying. Everyone understanding something new about Christopher Wallace. That he was struggling. That he was in pain. That he was fighting his own darkness. But he still helped others. Still funded a hotline. Still kept the phones on for people in crisis. While being in crisis himself, Maria releases a statement. In 1995, Brooklyn Crisis Center was going to close. We were $50,000 short. We serve over 2 million people in Brooklyn. We answer about 200 calls a month from people in crisis, people contemplating suicide, people who need hope, and we had none left. Then an anonymous donation arrived, $50,000. We stayed open. Christopher Wallace, the Notorious B.I.G., gave us that money, then gave us more. $25,000 a year for 2 more years. $75,000 total. From 1995 to 1997, we answered approximately 7,200 calls. We prevented an estimated 500 suicides. Conservative estimate, 500 people are alive today because Christopher Wallace kept our phones on. 500 families didn't lose someone they love. That's his legacy. That's what $75,000 bought. Not just operating costs. Lives, futures, hope. The hip-hop community reacts. Puffy. Big was fighting his own demons, but he was helping other people fight theirs. Lil' Kim. He never told anyone. Just did it. Nas. Biggie saved lives while losing his own battle. That's a hero. Survivors speak out. People who called between 95 and 97. Who were talked down. Who lived. Jennifer Torres, 48. I was 19. Depressed. Had pills. Called a 2 a.m. volunteer talked to me for 3 hours. I put the pills down. Got help. I'm alive because someone answered. Because Biggie kept the center funded. More stories. Dozens. Then hundreds. 7,200 calls. 500 direct interventions. But the ripple effect. The children. The lives touched. Exponential. Maria gives an interview. CNN. Did Christopher Wallace ever ask for credit? She shakes her head. Never. We begged to know who it was. Anonymous for 23 years. He just wanted people to live. What would you say to him? Maria's voice breaks. Thank you for keeping the lights on when we had no hope. You saved 500 people. Those 500 saved us. And that's the story. June 14, 95. A young man in therapy, struggling with anxiety, depression, fear. Here's a hotline closing. 50,000 short. 200 calls monthly going unanswered. Makes a choice. Anonymously. 50,000 immediately. 25,000 annually. 3 years. 75,000 total. 7,200 calls answered. 500 lives saved. All while fighting his own darkness. Christopher Wallace couldn't save himself, but he saved hundreds of others. And they never knew his name until 23 years after he died.